everybody, welcome to Band Advice TV. This is the Matt and Mark About Music podcast. I am your host, Mark Allen B. and
Matt Mason.
Matt the Cat Mason. Yeah, I remember that cassette that we put together of yours back in college.
Loved it.
Matt the Cat.
I still got it.
That's awesome, yeah.
I still got it.
Cool.
I ran into Howard at that Generation X, and he's got every one of his CDs and records. They're all digitized.
Nice.
And alphabetized in a spreadsheet. So he had digitized those records and sent them to me.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, man.
You know who keeps popping up on my Facebook, friends you may know? Hunt.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, I don't even know if he'd remember me, but I figured I might send him a friend request.
He's watched these, I think, a few times.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
I talked to him.
Well, you guys are like the Bellboy twins, though. You guys are
man,
bell-bottom twins.
Yeah.
You guys went and both got matching pairs of bell-bottoms and came back, and you were walking along, ding-dong, ding-dong.
And they weren't like corduroy, they were dollaroy.
Yes. Yep. I remember we had that one Easy Rider watch party in the dorms, and we all were wearing our tie-dyes.
Oh, yeah, man. That's what college is about. Fun shit like that.
That was that whole post-alternative, neo-hippie little slice that was happening there where the acoustical stuff was starting to come back in.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It was fun. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, it's having fun with it nowadays, too. I mean, you're staying busy, living the dream, and I'm doing the same. So
yeah, man. It's just different paths, but, you know, it all kind of crosses over once in a while. Now, you got you a new guitar not too long ago.
Yes, I did. I've been a Fender guy for pretty much most of my life. My first electric was a Japanese Fender Squier Bullet, which...
You still got it?
Still have it. I do. I don't have it hanging up right now, but yeah, I still have it. I had modified it when we were in Stillwater. I had thrown a humbucker in it, and I'm kind of wishing I wouldn't have, because I've seen this guitar, which I paid $110 for, seen it going $300 or $400. It's kind of a collector's thing, you know.
Oh, yeah.
It's the Squier, of course, now the rebirth of the Squier name, and it's really taken shape. But you know, people are like, the Japanese guitars, Fender wasn't too bad. So
yeah, oh yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to find somebody that might be an enthusiast to see if they're interested at all. So because that one, it had a Strat style body, but a Telecaster neck on it. I mean, it was a 7/8 scale too. It was a smaller.
It was a little smaller. I knew a couple other guys that had.
And it got smaller and smaller on me the bigger I got too. So threw that over my shoulder the other day. It's like, dang, one of the ukulele here.
Yeah, right. It's like a parlor size.
But yeah, so I've been a Fender Strat guy and a Telecaster guy for a while. But I bit the bullet. I went Gibson. Had my eye on this I think 2008. It was the Faded series. So I got the Warren Cherry, Gibson Les Paul. Man, and it is nice. And first time I took it to church, our sound engineer goes, "That guitar is welcomed here anytime."
Yeah,
because he's been struggling with trying to get me to find my place in the mix. And the Telecaster is a little twangy, and I always cut the mids because it's kind of a rookie thing to do when you're kind of a bedroom player. You like to scoop the mids a little bit, and he'd tell me to bump the mids up, and I'm like, but the Gibson sounds great, loving it, and it's got a lot of relief to it though. They did a lot of relief in the body, so it is a little bit neck heavy. I've noticed, so it's like got to lift up here, but. Still.
So it's what is this, studio?
No, but it's the Faded series, which is real similar to the studio, but I think it has a little bit more relief and it's a little lighter.
Okay.
And
yeah, those are some of my favorites, man. I have several of those Faded series instruments, and I like the finish.
Yeah.
Number one, I like the finish.
Yeah.
Number two, well, obviously, it's a lot less money.
Yeah. Yep.
I just don't feel like every guitar needs 8 layers of finish on it, and it feels better. I mean, the cheapest one with the most, just basic finish, to me, that just feels the best.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely took the aesthetics into it a lot. And, of course, the price point. I mean, it's still a $1,000 guitar, but, I guess your studios are going to start at 12, aren't they? Maybe even a little higher than that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like depends on how good you want to get at shopping for it.
Yeah, true.
And how much time you got to spend on trying to look for the perfect one. And, what's really important to you, and, yeah, this just, everything's gone up, man. I mean, it's just those guitars are very expensive now, and it's kind of like out of the hands of a lot of people.
Well, I remember when you bought, I think it was your first one. That was back when we were in college and playing together. And I think you spent $1,200 on that at the time too.
That guitar was $975.
$975, okay.
And I that was when they were listed, and that's a standard. It's a 92 standard. It's black. And so I got a vintage case with it that was cheaper than the new Gibson case at the time, and I think that was about $60 or something.
Okay.
So I had, not very much in that, and they were going on the street for 13, 14, or listing for 18 or something like that. But I got it at East Coast Music Mall. I think that was shortly before they were closing out, something like that. But I mean, I just can't believe what some of those go for now. It's just like.
Now, these are all the Gibson brand, or are you throwing Epiphone in there as well? Or
no, those are all Gibson USA made Gibson.
Okay.
I have, the Epiphones. I have a Epiphone Firebird, couple of those, and a Epiphone, the Mandabird. Got one of them. That's pretty cool. And really, I mean, for your average person, Epiphone is a fine instrument, and it's. I played that Epiphone Firebird the second time we played with Trower. I played that on stage.
Nice.
And I'm like, I just, I don't see anything wrong with this guitar other than in some people's mind, since it was $140, they'd think it wasn't good enough.
Right.
Now, like I'll tell you, you get up there in the top frets and the fretwork's not quite the same as the USA Firebirds, but man, the thing sounds great. It plays great. I mean, the finish on it's really tough. I mean, if it, if something happens to it, God forbid, I'm not going to be that upset. It'll be upsetting, but it wouldn't be, a big a loss as it would be if something happened to one of the USA ones,
Yeah, see, I was kind of wondering that. So I put a little Facebook survey out a couple weeks ago on a couple of the posts, the Wampler post and Keeley, our Wampler group and Keeley group. It says, okay, finish this sentence. Epiphone is to Gibson what blank is to Fender. And of course I had some people say, cut the drama. It's like, this isn't drama. I'm just curious. Because my point was, because I have always had a lot of respect for Epiphone. My dad was, he played guitar, and he had an Epiphone guitar for years that was actually picked out for him at the advice of a guy who was a Fender purist.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, not a Fender. I'm a Martin purist. It says, if this meets the approval of a guy that plays a $4,000 Martin, this has got to be a pretty good guitar.
Yeah.
So I was kind of wondering what people's thoughts were. So I naturally was thinking that they're going to say Squier to Fender, and but I was really surprised that I didn't get more people saying Made in Mexico Fenders. The MIMs, that the Epiphone would be along that line too. So I don't know. So, but. I guess part of my reason for that is like I'm trying to get a feel for what people's opinions are of Squier as well, since it's kind of a new thing and it's definitely in your more affordable price range. If they would consider that to be the Squier to be as highly regarded as Epiphones are regarded by Gibson people, but as you just said, a lot of people are like, well, it's not Gibson, it's Epiphone. But I never considered Epiphone a bargain basement line, so.
Well, it's just like more along the lines of, hey, I mean, I'm a working player. I'm going out there. I'm playing in some places where I don't know if I'm going to come home with all my gear.
Yeah,
just the bottom line of it. And, it's like I always likened it to, okay, it's like showing up at a pool party in a tuxedo. There's just some joints that are like, I'm not going to take my best. I'm not going to go riding my best horse.
Right.
Over here. I'm going to take something that I like for different ways, different reasons, and play that. But Epiphone's good stuff, man. I mean, like I said, it's in the electronics and it's in the fretwork.
Sure.
But if you're playing, doing gigs, if you're whatever, it's totally fine. You don't need to spend thousands of dollars on an instrument to sound good and play good.
Right.
That's what people don't get. They think, if I get this, if I get that. How about this? How about you sit in your room for about 12 hours with the record player and try to figure out what.
Notice he said record player, not MP3 player.
Yeah, what your favorite player is really doing. You'll see an improvement in your performance, no matter what instrument you're playing.
Yeah, you see some of those viral videos too, where some guy will go in and grab a first act guitar in Walmart and just start shredding on it. It's like it's.
Was Zach Wild doing the Hello Kitty on the NIB on the Hello Kitty guitar?
Yeah.
It's like
So yeah, it's the musician that makes the instrument more so than the instrument makes the musician.
Definitely,
so, especially when you're dealing with the subtle differences, I guess, between an Epiphone and the Gibson. But
yeah, I mean, it's like because at first everything feels weird,
right?
Everything, Now you hand a Les Paul Custom to somebody who'd just been playing for a short while. I don't know that they'd really necessarily be able to perceive the difference between that and like, an Electra Les Paul copy or a Dean or, anything like that. It all kind of seems weird. And you just really got to get in there and experiment and see what feels good to you, what you like. I mean, seriously, a lot of my favorite players, their stuff, I would never really think that would work for me.
Right.
But they sound great on it. And so, cutting your own path is where it's at.
Sure. And there's some significant differences in the way you play going from Fender to a Les Paul. That's the thing I learned. It's like, whoa, there's a huge learning curve. And I'll be honest with you, it taught me, going to the Les Paul taught me that I've been picking wrong all these years. And that I need to focus more on the wrist movement and freeing my wrist instead of just plopping it down on the bridge and just using my fingers. Yeah. It's like, so I'm kind of having to relearn some. And after all these years, that's a little frustrating. So what do you mean? I'm supposed to be getting better, not taking steps back. But we're getting there.
Yeah, well, and the big difference is the scale length.
Right.
Because like the Gibson is shorter. So by nature, it's going to be like a little more spongy. There, it's not going to be, the strings aren't quite as snappy. It's going to be a rounder and mellower sound. It's also going to be easier to bend on, the neck feels different, of course, but, the Fender, that's why they got the snappy, glassy, all those adjectives they use to describe a Fender is because the string is longer from where it hits the nut to where it comes to the bridge. So that's going to give you more glassy, snappy, it's tighter, it's more tension, you have to play different, it's like, I walk into a club, see a band, like, hey, get up here, and they hand me. It's like, man, oh man, it's you got to get used to each one of them.
Right.
But there's just this and there's that, and use one when you want, use the other one when you don't. You want that.
It's just like when you go to test drive a new car, and all of a sudden you go to put your foot on the brake and it jerks because it's like, oh, I don't have to put that as much pressure on the brakes, or
these brakes aren't worn out,
or they're not worn out, or the gas pedal's more responsive than what you're used to, and that poor guy that's trying to sell you the car is going all crazy.
Yeah.
So Gibson got themselves into a little bit of a PR mess this last couple of weeks, huh?
Man, yeah.
I tell you, for those of you that don't know what's going on, where have you been?
Right.
Well, basically, they got this new guy, and he's the director of brand experience, Mark Agnesi, looks like. And he posted this video. And you've seen the video, I'm sure, where he's talking about play authentic. It's like this new pitch, got to play authentic. And of course, what he's trying to do is say, hey, don't go for the cheap stuff. Go with Gibson. Do the real thing. Don't buy the cheap stuff, and be authentic in your playing. The problem is it went from this kind of a sales pitch thing to all of a sudden, oh, we're going to sue your tails if you decide to copy us. Yeah. And true to what the video said, within like 2 days they went after Dean and for the Flying V and stuff like that, and they got a lawsuit going. And it's like, man, okay, I get that you're not wanting people to rip off your intellectual property, although. How long has Dean been making the Flying V?
Years. Decades.
Right. Decades, right.
And, when I first thought when I heard that was like, okay, well, Chevy should go after Ford because the wheel's round.
Exactly, right.
That's just about as much sense as that makes to me.
Right. So it was just really crazy. So, of course, the internet just blew up on that deal. And I guess they pulled the video down pretty quick, but... For any of you that don't know this, nothing is ever erased from the internet. Once it's out there forever. You just may have to hunt for it.
Keep that in mind.
Keep that in mind, exactly. Your little Snapchat and whatever stuff you guys are doing these
Next
days.
time you go to a beer party, keep that in mind.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Oh, my gosh.
But, I like Agnesi, man. He worked at Norm's out there in L.A., and he was doing the guitar of the day. Mm-hmm. And so every day they'd show him playing and demoing different guitars. And, just a real fun, interesting dude. And then he started his own little web series. He was interviewing people at his house. And, he's real knowledgeable about instruments, and so he saw a chance to take it to the next level. And you gotta understand, hey, Gibson's a big company. They've been around a long time. They're kind of changing things around. What a good opportunity. I was happy for him when I found out about it. Here's the thing. What you got to understand is, like, now it's not about positive and good and all this. It's about go after somebody. You'll get more traction that way. Gets people talking now a lot more than positivity.
Oh, yeah, I get that. Sure. With all the, red and white and left and... with all the...
Anything, man, anything.
Yeah.
I've seen artists go after other artists. It's not healthy.
Right, but it does get the controversy. It gets people talking. It gets taking sides. And...
Okay, remember when Miss America was decrowned?
Vanessa Williams, right?
Big, huge controversy. Oh, my gosh, there's these scandalous photos. Oh, no, she's not going to be a role model for the United States. We're taking her crown, and we're going to make this big... 20 years later, what's she doing? She's a spokesperson for Kmart. Nobody.
I guess they didn't realize it. Yeah, of
nobody
course.
even realized why they knew her and knew her name and knew her likeness.
She put a couple of songs out there, did some movies, sure.
And so, I mean, you sort of become famous for being infamous after a while.
Oh, look at all that stuff with Cardi B and whoever that is.
I don't even know.
I guess she's some pop artist, but has quite the sordid past in the adult industry or something to that effect. I don't know.
Oh.
But it's like, what kind of role model is that? Exactly.
I don't think people are looking maybe for necessarily role models, but controversy plays into
certainly
the Gibson thing. Because now they've said, okay, well, now we're just going to be a collaborative type thing.
Sure, yeah, they're going to
after they've walked into the party and spilled their beer on the ground and punched somebody in the nose. Now they're going to be nice. I don't know, man. It's like that company's gone through a lot, and I just don't know what the future's going to be. But this is not the way to go forward. This is not it.
But they definitely did. They got their name out there. I mean, they definitely stirred up the controversy, got people talking about it. And if that was the intention, then it was brilliantly played. But I think he also ticked off a lot of people in the process. It's just like a lot of people aren't going to be buying Nike shoes for the next couple of weeks until they forget about what happened with that and move on.
They'll have something to talk about and something to stand on for a while.
Sure, exactly. I'm going to go burn my Nike shoes and buy another $150 pair next week because I liked them.
Right.
So I don't hear anybody burning Gibson guitars right now because they're just too dang expensive.
Yeah.
For that.
Well, and I mean, what you got to figure out, what are they selling?
Right.
Really, what are they selling? Obviously, they're selling an instrument that, for most people's mind, if they know anything about guitars at all, Gibson is one of the top names in the guitars.
Sure.
Is it still deserving of that title? That's up for debate. I'll tell you, my experience is, I would say no.
Yeah, possibly.
I bought a Les Paul Jr. in 2009. I mean, faded finish. It was $700 or something. Came to me with the usual old style bridge on it. Just wraps around. You can't intonate it really. And that guitar at half step down and open G was not playable. It wouldn't really stay in tune. So I had to spend another $100 on a Tone Pros bridge, the wraparound with the saddles in there to intonate each string. Now the purists will be bitching because that's not really stock. And then the other people like myself, I'm like, look, I don't really care as long as it works. As long as if there's some reason I should want to sell that guitar, I can put the original equipment back on it and sell it. But still, I'm like, that to me was kind of like an eye opener into like, well, maybe they're not the best guitar company in the world anymore.
No, I think that they've. Well, I mean, the whole thing was play authentic, and they're saying don't go with the cheap knockoffs, don't do. Don't go with the other brands and stuff like that. If you want to play a Les Paul, get a Gibson Les Paul. But the problem is that you can get a Les Paul that's an Epiphone Les Paul, which we just talked about. Epiphones are great guitars, but then you can also get the Maestro. And then they talked about a couple of years ago that they were going to come out with the $100 and $150 line. Everybody can have a Les Paul for $100, and it's like
those are
they're cheapening the brand themselves. And Les Paul being the innovator, I kind of. Personally, it irks me because it's like all the things that he has done, you're kind of just cheapening his name and his contribution to the music by slapping that on on $100 guitar. So,
well, that was like kind of like the Melody Maker, Les Paul Jr., Stupid Colors series or whatever. Yeah. And they were grabbing
Maestros.
Yeah, they were grabbing at straws for a while there, and they still are. But I mean, the Faded series, write it down.
Yeah,
that's the way to go.
Yeah, I like that.
That's
a lot,
the best bargain for your money.
Yep.
I mean, I started with a Faded SG. That's my favorite one.
Nice.
I have a custom shop SG. I have a standard USA. I have SG specials. My favorite feel is the SG Faded.
Nice.
The Flying V Faded, love it too. I mean, that's the best deal. None of those instruments should be more than $600 brand new. If you can find those for $300 to $400 playing a USA made Gibson, that's just like competitive with the other thousands of people making instruments at every price point. Some of those builders, like they're building an improved version of whatever is familiar.
Right.
Which Gibson hasn't done that. I mean, that Junior came with the same crummy bridge that it came with in 1958. Now, the purists be mad, whatever, but it's functionality, If you just want to hang it on the wall, big deal.
Sure.
But if you actually want to play it, they got to make some strides forward.
Right.
Now, I don't think those robo-tuners and all this other stuff was a stride forward. I think that was not – they shouldn't have been thinking about that.
Right.
But – they'll always have their fans. I'm one of them. But, I mean, I realize that, hey, go pick up a Les Paul copy. I mean, Appetite for Destruction was recorded on a guitar that was, in fact, not a Gibson. It was a luthier's copy of a Gibson.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, sometimes what looks like is not really what you think.
Exactly. Look at us. We're not really YouTubers, but we're certainly trying, right?
Well, I don't know, man. I think the only thing that makes you a YouTuber is you just put up content.
Yep, that's true.
And I noticed when I wasn't doing content regularly, I didn't get like an email saying, hey creator,
right.
This is what we're doing. Hey content creator. And so the more you do it, the more,
Yep, that's true.
More people know about it. And, I just feel like it's not like, you have to be rich, famous, and well-known to call yourself a YouTube creator, a guitarist,
right.
Whatever you're doing,
Yeah, definitely. Back to the Gibson thing, too. It's like, I think they tapped into the brilliance of, or I think they brilliantly tapped into the knowledge that there's two types of guitar players out there. You got the working musician, plays in a band, and then you've got the bedroom musician, the bedroom player. And there's the entire industry seems to be shifting towards that, because I think that's where the money is, honestly. I think that once you...
I made more money in my bedroom than I have playing live.
Yeah. Well, just because you got the kids and the doctors and the lawyers and all that are going to sit there and do the whole tone chasing thing. So they want to have the guitar that's got the brand new pickups in it and all these pedals and stuff, And I'm guilty of it, too. I'm the guy that'll spend $2,000 on pedals to make my amp sound like a $1,000 amp.
Yeah.
But that's part of the fun that I have with it. But I'm also not taking every single one of those pedals to whichever gigs I'm going for.
Yeah.
So,
well, I get it. It's fun to fool around. But, I mean, I call them cork sniffers because it's like, okay, I've played a lot of gigs. I've done a lot of recording. I've done a lot of stuff. And all those Gibson guitars, I've never willingly gone out there and replaced pickups just because they weren't up to my standards. Right. It's in the player. It's in the fingers. If you sound like shit, hey, how about you practice a little more?
Right.
I guarantee you'll see results. And it ain't the fool. It ain't the tool. It's the fool.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
And the fact is, too, is that, yeah, you can tell the difference maybe in your bedroom while you're playing. But when you're in a crowded bar and you got your sound engineer's half in the bag right then, you ain't going to tell the difference. You're gonna, hopefully he'll have you in the frequency mix that it'll be a nice balance, but you're not, especially the average person in the audience, is not going to be able to tell the difference between the stock pickups versus the replaced ones. So
yeah, it's all perception,
right?
Exactly. And you got to figure out what is Gibson really selling. What is Harley selling?
Right.
What is any of those heritage type brands selling? Obviously, they're selling product association. Oh, I want to be associated with the best guitar maker in the world.
Sure.
I want to ride the best motorcycle in the world. Well,
A lot of people say Harleys aren't the best bikes in the world.
That's exactly right.
Especially when you're driving by one that's parked on the side of the road because it overheated.
Right, or you're talking about, years such and such through such and such.
The MF era, yeah.
And I mean, I know some of those the years of Gibsons, I won't even look at them. Mm. I know, SGs, you want to look for these years, you want to lay off of these years. When it got funny with the traditional and all those, it's confusing to people.
Sure.
And so I think they got to think about what they're selling, who they're trying to reach. Are they trying to reach the 14-year-old kid who's getting pretty good, who knows the difference between junk and something good that's got $400 or $500 he can spend? They need to figure out who's their market, who are they going after, And I'm no CEO of any company or nothing, but I could just kind of see how it goes, Mm-hmm. And as a player of those instruments all these years myself, I just think, I could tell them what I think they would do, but then somebody across the country would think I was an idiot and spend 2 hours on the computer telling me about it.
Sure.
So I don't tend to get in those kind of conversations online about stuff like this, but, I just think it's all in the eye of the beholder, and what their perception is what's a good guitar? Hey, I played ESPs that are good guitars. I played all kinds of great guitars that aren't Gibsons, that weren't $1,500, $1,000. They were $300, $200. I'm more thrilled now with what can I get for the cheapest.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's going to get me close to the results.
Yeah, no doubt. I was toying with picking up this Epiphone, the 335, I think it was. Guy was selling it for $325. It's like,
I've seen those for $250.
Yeah,
and they're nice.
I bet they are. It's just,
I've almost bought one of those several times myself.
Because they're always on there. People that are buying them and then selling them left and right. And I've seen them anywhere for, like I said, low 300s up to $425, which I think they retail for about $450. So
I really like the 339 because it's like the 335 with a smaller body.
Okay.
And so, the 335 for a little guy like me, it just seems a little bit too big.
So I need like the triple extra 335. Make me look slimmer. Yeah. Now, let me ask you this. Now, I think I heard Bonamassa talking about this, and that the Flying V was actually designed to be a country guitar. And that it was designed so that you put your arm through it and hold it like this and pluck it. And that's why the V was cut out.
Really?
Have you ever heard that?
I haven't heard that.
Because it certainly did not end up that way.
Almost got killed one night when I showed up for a country gig with a V.
Nice. I saw a YouTube thing. It may have even been Brian Wampler's channel where he took 3 Boss HM pedals and modified them, or totally gutted them and replaced them with like little Tube Screamer circuits and all that. Because now put this on your board and go to your country gig, all 3 of these, and just watch everybody go.
Yeah, right.
All right, well, hey, good talk. By the way, we are not endorsed by Gibson nor Fender nor anybody else, but if you wish to do so, you just leave me a comment.
Well, that's not exactly true, but we'll talk to you about that in the next video.
Okay, well, I'm not endorsed by anybody other than the All-American Greenback that's paying for all this crap. So, hey, good talk, man. Good talk.
Awesome, man.
All right,
I can't wait to see what happens with Gibson.
Yeah, we may. I can't wait to see what happens with this video. What responses we get.
Right on.
Nothing like stirring up a little controversy ourselves, right?
No doubt.
Well, anyway, I am Mark Allen V, and this is
Matt Mason.
And this is Band Advice TV with the Matt and Mark Bout Music Podcast. So until next time, peace.
See ya.